The 1980s, they were so great. That was such a decade. I loved it with the jelly bracelets. I mean, I would be wearing a banana clip for you if I still had one with my like Madonna mesh neon green sweater, and I would be rocking out to some Wham. But we have to move on from the 80s with our diets. So the 80s were a time of low fat everything, because somewhere in the 1970s, the American Heart Association released a study that said everybody needs to start eating more carbohydrates and less fat. Fat is bad. Bad. It's going to clog your arteries and you're going to die. So everybody started eating more carbohydrates. So this is going to be a game changer for you, and you can probably hear the excitement in my voice. The latest introduction, the latest member of the family to the Fixxr line is Metabolism Fixxr. And this, oh my God, I formulated this just for all my people out there that need to lose weight, that need help in the weight loss department, that can't lose weight no matter what they do, that feel like they have a slow metabolism, and that might be thinking of trying all those peptides out there, you know, the Beverly Hills soccer mom drug of choice for weight loss peptides. Or even if you're on them already and you're like, man, these are really expensive and I'm still not losing weight, add in Metabolism Fixxr. Here's what I did. I took the power of T2, which increases your basal metabolic rate while you are sitting there watching Netflix. You're burning fat while you're watching Netflix. I combined it with a very unique patented ingredient called Suppressa. Suppressa has multiple clinical trials backing its efficacy in reducing your appetite, decreasing snacking, and providing way more control over your food intake. It is amazing. We also see improved emotional well-being, just decreased food cravings all around, reduced hunger, and weight management. Add on top of that, we have green tea extract, we have purple forest purple tea extract, both of which affect the metabolism in a very positive way without the jitters of normal fat burning supplements out there from the 1980s and 90s, right? The ones that made you feel like you're having a heart attack. You will not have that in any of my supplements, Thyroid Fixxr or Metabolism Fixxr. But Metabolism Fixxr, ooh, yeah, we kicked it up a notch. It is in powder form, so you can drink it through your day. It's going to flavor your water. We got orange crush and refreshing citrus. I love them both. It is going to keep you under control all day long. So you throw a couple scoops in your water bottle in the morning, throw a scoop or two in your water bottle throughout the day. You will have fat burning and appetite control the entire day for what? An eighth of a price of the peptides? Oh my God, you can't go wrong. So grab some Metabolism Fixxr today. Please let me know how you do on it. I am super excited for you. Super excited. And then we had the low fat and fat free everything phase come out in the 80s. And I was part of this. I had my stash of low fat Snackwell cookies. I was eating white rice with milk and cinnamon and sugar because there was no fat in that whatsoever. I was eating fat-free muffins. I was eating low-fat ice cream. And what we were finding over time is that obesity rates actually increased along with sugar consumption. So if you look at a chart in the 1980s, after 1977, I think it was, the amount of sugar consumption, wheat consumption, and along with obesity skyrocketed. So this is where we see that low-fat craze kind of take a nosedive. And listen, it took a few years. And some of you are still brainwashed in your 1980s way of thinking that fat is bad and you're still doing low-fat everything. If you are at a grocery store and you're looking at low-fat cottage cheese versus the high-fat cottage cheese, you're buying the low-fat because your brain is still stuck back with your leg warmers and your Richard Simmons tapes and your Jane Fonda workouts that fat is bad. And it's not bad. So we need to start moving out of this and looking at the research. You've heard me talk about the ketogenic diet ad nauseum. I am a fan of it. Sometimes I don't use the word keto because you all get freaked out. So I just say low carb. But that is the way that I eat. And that's the way many of my patients eat because the research is there. So if we dive into the scientific evidence, this is the most researched way of eating, short of basically the Mediterranean plan for heart disease. This is the most researched way of eating. It has studies just steeped in evidence of it being so good for cancer, for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ADD, ADHD, autism, diabetes, autoimmune, inflammation. I mean, you name it. And it is there and the evidence is there. So many times I will refer back to a case study that I wrote with a colleague on one of my patients where we reversed his diabetes with the use of a low carb ketogenic diet. So LCKD is how it's shortened in the paper. So a low carb ketogenic diet and berberine completely reversed his diabetes. He started off as an insulin dependent diabetic. And within 6 months, his A1C went from a 13.9 to a 5.4, completely reversing his diabetes. He was off of his insulin completely. So there is so much evidence into lowering your carbohydrates. So what that does when we lower your carbohydrates, you move from being a sugar burner into being a fat burner. So if you are back in the 80s and you're eating low fat and high carbs, you are filling your glycogen stores, these big vats in your muscles. You're filling up those glycogen stores. And anytime that you need energy, if your brain needs energy, if your body needs energy, it's going to pull from those glycogen stores. Well, it's not till those glycogen stores get to zero that your body makes a shift over into actually burning your own body fat for fuel. So those of you who are carrying around extra body fat, the last thing you want to do is be a sugar burner because all you're doing is burning off the food that you're eating. You're burning off those glycogen stores. When you drain those and you make that shift and you drop your carbohydrates and you increase your fat and you give your body that good fat that it needs to make good cholesterol, to make hormones, to make testosterone, when you give your body that good fat to improve your skin, improve your hair, and improve your nails, and then you lower your carbohydrates, you're essentially lowering those glycogen stores. Your body has no other choice but to shift over into being a fat burner. So it will then tap into your own body fat stores for fuel. And that is when we make that shift in the ketogenic world or the low carb diet world, we make that shift from burning nothing but sugar to burning fat. Now that shift can be a little bit rough. And sometimes that's where you feel like crap. And that's where you'll hear things like the keto flu. But it's basically your body just not used to it. You've been pounding it with sugar for so long. Of course, you're going to feel like crap. You're also going to lose some water in the process because when you drop your carbs, carbohydrates hold water. So for those of you walking around feeling like your rings are all tight and you got poofy sausage fingers all day long, it might be time to think about it because you're holding way too much water. And in lowering your carbohydrates, you'll hold less water. So you might shed some water at first, shed some electrolytes. That's why you feel like garbage and making that transition. But I promise you, making the transition from the 1980s to 2020 will be, or 2021. How about the 2020s? How about just all the 2020s? Making that shift, I promise you, will set you up for disease prevention, for feeling better, for better brain clarity and function, for better fat burning, for just basically feeling like your best self. Now, is it best to do this with the help of somebody? Yes, absolutely. And that's what I do with my patients. We do one-on-one nutrition plans in the whole package of when we work together. In addition to optimizing your hormones, taking a functional medicine approach to any conditions or symptoms that you're experiencing, optimizing your sleep and your digestion and your brain function. Of course, we are going to optimize your nutrition plan and make it personalized to you too. So if you are dealing with anything like brain fog and weight gain and weight that you can't lose, and you've been told that you're pre-diabetic and you have Alzheimer's in your family, or you have neurological disease in your family, or you have ADHD as an adult and you can't quite think straight, or your memory shot, it might be time to reach out. It might need to dive deep and get to the root cause and then bring you out of the 80s. Out of that brainwashed Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig cycle that you've been in for so many years that doesn't work. And we're going to bring you into being a complete, efficient fat burner. Okay, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Thyroid Fix podcast. As always, please share this with anyone that you know that needs this information. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there and in your life who do. Also, please remember that anything that you hear on this podcast is not intended to diagnose or treat. So you always want to check with your doctor about any advice given that you hear on this podcast. And if you would like to book a discovery call, a free discovery call, to go over everything that's going on with you and to go over how I can help you, please go to my website at amiehornaman.com. The link is always in the show notes. And click on book a call. Choose a time and a day that's right for you. And we will see how we can help you. Thanks for listening.